Hello, friends. So, a shocking financial situation is brewing in the United States. And in this session, we are going to discuss the same topic whether America is on the brink of financial collapse. See, with national debt skyrocketing to 36 trillion, in fact, many are asking the same question: is America is headed for bankruptcy? And this debt crisis, along with or compounded by the financial mismanagement and also various economic challenges, is raising alarm bells globally. And today in this session, let's discuss and let's dive deep into the reasons behind this escalating debt, its implications for the US economy, and what lies ahead under Trump's leadership, which he is going to assume in Jan 2025. Let's start with the debt. Okay, so how did it get this bad and what this debt explosion is all about and everything? So let's start with the numbers. If you see in 2001, the US national debt stood at around $5.7 trillion. So, and if you see by 2020, this figure have loomed to 23.2 trillion. So from 5.7 in 2001, it became 23.2 in 2020. And the real explosion have started or occurred during or after the COVID-19 pandemic, with 16 trillion added in just 4 years. So you can see in 2001 5.7 trillion, 2020 23.2 trillion, which means around 17 is what added in the 20 years. So the debt added, if you see, in the 20 years was 17 trillion, but the same is added in the next 4 years. From 2020 to 2024, 16 trillion is added. So that is what is getting very dangerous. And to put this into perspective, the US have been borrowing 6.3 billion every day for the past year. Every day, $6.3 billion borrowing. US, can you imagine? And today, every American citizen, having a debt of approximately $1,80,000. Every American citizen, if you divide the debt with the population, that's what I mean by debt to population ratio. Or every American citizen, you know, have that debt of approximately $1,80,000. So which is very significant. And this rapid increase in borrowing have pushed the debt to GDP ratio to a staggering 125%, with projections even suggesting it could cross 200% in the coming years. And this marked a dramatic shift from the early 2000s, when the ratio was below 50%. And such unsustainable borrowing is a ticking time bomb for any economy. So that's why the question whether US economy is collapsing. Let's look at the economic consequences: high cost and limited growth and everything. See, borrowing is not inherently bad, but excessive debt comes with severe repercussions. So that's what you can see here. A significant portion of the federal budget is now consumed by interest payments. That's one of the major expenditure, and that means leaving less money for essential investments like infrastructure, education, healthcare, etc. So majority of the chunk is going for interest payment, so that leave you with less space for investing in infrastructure or education or healthcare. And also high debt service cost means this interest payments and everything, coupled with the rising interest rate. That means the government is spending more on repayment and less on its growth. So that's a very critical situation. And for citizens, this translates into a higher interest rate for loans and mortgages, making housing and essential goods increasingly expensive. When the government borrow heavily, they crowd out the private borrowers and reducing the money available for business and individuals. So this dynamics, get back into the economic growth and increase the financial burden on households also. Let's look at the political promises. See, Donald Trump's economic policies again add complexity to the situation. Trump have pledged to reduce the corporate taxes, which could shrink government revenue. That is again very important. At the same time, he plans to impose tariffs on imports from countries like China, Mexico. So that's his main policy. He want to reduce the taxes and impose tariffs on the imports. So in two ways, the reduced tax, he will compensate with the tariffs. At the same time, when the tariffs are imposed, you will promote the domestic production also. So these tariffs aim to protect the domestic industries, but they often lead to higher prices for consumers. That again can fuel inflation. There are certain elements where your country depends on imports. So in that cases, there will be a huge price hike. And balancing the tax cuts with debt servicing is a very tough challenge. Tax reductions may stimulate economic activity, but they also reduce the government revenue. That again fuel the debt crisis. So Trump's strategy will face political and economic hurdles with sharp divides between Democrats and Republicans on managing the spending and taxation. Now, let's also try to understand why investors are turning to gold and Bitcoin. See, in times of financial instability, investors often seek safe havens. With the US economy under pressure, alternative assets like gold and Bitcoin have seen significant growth, and gold prices have surged. That reflects uncertainty in traditional markets. On the other side, if you see Bitcoin recently crossed, the historic high also. So these trends indicate, investors' confidence in the dollar and search for stability in volatile times. Let's look at the role of government efficiency. See, recognizing the gravity of the situation, Trump have established the Department of Government Efficiency, right? DOGE, we discussed about this, led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. So this department aims to cut unnecessary government spending and improve operational efficiency. It is the proposed measure actually include reducing budgets for advocacy groups and cutting federal support for non-essential programs like that. But achieving meaningful savings without impacting public welfare remain again a daunting task. So now what are the lessons from history? The US have faced debt challenges before also, particularly during 2008 financial crisis. But the current situation is unprecedented due to its scale and the rapid growth. Borrowing at this pace not only hampers economic flexibility, but also undermines global confidence in the US dollar. With China and other economies growing, America's, actually risking losing its dominant financial position. And especially if it fails to control its debt. Now, what is the future of US economy? What lies ahead? See, the coming years will be critical for America's economic stability. Trump's leadership will be tested as he tried to balance tax cuts, rising debt, and political pressure. With Democrats and Republicans deeply divided, achieving consensus on fiscal policies will be challenging, and the debt crisis will shape America's political landscape and economic policies for the coming years also. Now, see, America's 36 trillion debt is not just a number, it's a reflection of deeper systemic issues. And balancing growth with fiscal responsibility will require tough decision and innovative solution. Whether Trump can navigate these challenges will determine the future of the US economy and its role on the global stage also. So guys, that's about this video. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment, and that's about this session. In case if you're looking for any mentorship program for your civil service preparation, I've shared the details in the description. Please go through that. Thank you so much.